The sea, the wind and the sun, the three symbols of freedom we all crave. But why is that? Why is it the vast expanse of the blue ocean is the main protagonist of so many dreams, so many calls to adventure, so many promises of bringing wondrous tales when we come home? Is it because of the exploits of explorers? Because of the stories we were told at night? What makes a person dream of the deep blue sea and love One Piece? One Piece is an ode to freedom. An ode not only to the freedom from rules, but the freedom from society. It is a reversion to childhood, an endless sea of dreams, and in my opinion, it carries the essence that can make our dreams come true. Yes, the Jojo Straw Hat Boy not only shows us with each turn of the story how to have fun, but also what is truly important in life to make our dreams, and the ones from others, come true. But I'm sure that if you love it, you already know about all of this. If you don't though, let me tell you why we love it. Let me put it this way. The reason why we love One Piece is because of three main pillars. It is the most familiar series you will ever see, while being immensely creative. It is absurdly funny in a childlike manner, and also it is incredibly emotional in a very visceral way. Why familiar? Because it is so based on the world around us. So much so that it feels like a documentary of the human experience and history. All the pieces that form our collective psyche, written in a new way that feels fresh, while also making you feel at home. So, let's discuss a few things about storytelling to understand this familiarity. In Saving the Cat, one thing the writer talks about is what a big producer said to him once about the scripts he wanted. Give me the same, but different. People need some familiarity to hold on to, and it is said that there is nothing new under the sun. One Piece is not an exception in this. Pirates? How many media exist of them? Giants? More of the same. Zombies? Come on, tell me you haven't seen thousands of zombie movies. Almost everything you have seen in One Piece exists before. Then, why don't we feel One Piece is stale or not creative? Why are we so connected to the world building Oda does? We love it because we know it, and yet it has a new flavor, a new twist. That is the genius of Oda and other artists like Yuki Nobutatsu with Dandadan or Hirohiko Araki with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They will give you the same familiar thing, but different. These guys are gangsters. Gangsters. Think about it. Creativity is about giving a specific new lens to something that is already familiar. And Oda is a master at this, and understanding the true essence of things. You know, a zombie is a reanimated corpse, but I assure you, Oda didn't use the typical way of creating a zombie to include them in the story. Beastmen? Well, you have seen werewolf for sure in media, but I assure you that you haven't seen a lot of people like the smile users. Skeletons? Of course there are, but where have you seen a skeleton with an afro? That is Oda, the master of creativity. This goes hand in hand with the theory of the triangle of weirdness, a concept that helps you not give your viewers too much of an alien experience while being creative. Basically, you divide the triangle in three vertices: characters, activities, and world. The common knowledge is just to make one of them weird, to make sure your viewers don't become strange. But, oh Oda does something masterful with this. One Piece plays with weirdness in a very particular way, and that is cheating the triangle principle. Yes, Oda is a cheater, because he makes two of them weird, and it still works. While the activities are sort of normal, fighting between pirates, uncovering treasure, toppling titans, the world and characters are plainly weird. Just look at the designs Oda pulls. Nobody is normal in One Piece. and some of the locations are also quite incredible. So, how does Oda solve the issue of making the weird feel familiar? I don't know if Oda had this planned or not, but he does something that is quite smart. If you have seen the story from the beginning, he has trained you to be weird. Well, not exactly that, but he trains you to get accustomed to his type of weird. What do I mean by this? When we are faced with the first part of the series, Romance Dawn, all the places are quite normal. We can't make an exception on Baratie, but even this makes sense when you understand the world. The rest is surprisingly normal in concept. You have a small village island, because we don't know the full dimension of the Goa kingdom Luffy inhabits, a small city in the Buggy Arc, a small village with Syrup Village and Usopp, a slight exception with Baratie, but one that is easy to get on board with, because the world is mostly a water world. And we come back to two normal places, with Nami's Arc, a locked town. Then we get to Laboon and a guy living inside him, as well as the Red Line. But by that point, you have seen Gyojin, Silly Clowns, Catboys, a wannabe Michael Jackson, and Pearl. Seriously, what the hell is this guy about? Get him out of my face. There are so many freaky characters that you get accustomed to them, so it's not even that weird to you by that point. Then you get to the Grand Line, and you kind of expect everybody to at least be a little on the freaky side. So when Oda starts to bring more exotic locations, perpetual winter islands that are prehistoric, places like Water 7, Enies Lobby, Sabaody or Impel Down, you are kind of used to the freaky side of characters, having normalized them, and it makes easier to accept a new type of weird, the places. Also, Oda plays with a very curious thing that helps you even more. He always wears his reference on the sleeve. You see Water 7, and you know it is based on Venice. You see Giants, and it is easy to see they are based in Vikings both in appearance and culture. And let's not talk about the amount of cameos of pop culture figures, like Bangkok being Tim Curry in Rocky Horror Show, all the admirals being based on actors, or all the reference Oda puts in the names of characters of the series. All of these grounds the weirdness, giving you always something to identify with. Even in the freakishly weird moments, the story becomes unorthodox. Now, you don't only have a freakishly big cast, but a freaky big world. One Piece is a beast of its own just because of the vast expanse that it presents to us, letting a stream of stories that might inhabit this amazingly big setting. The world is so big, so full of life, so amazingly populated that you always have something to hold on to. Yes, hold on to. If you don't have a Straw Hat you love, which I think it is nearly impossible, you will have Smoker, one of the villains, Buggy, Shanks, Garp, Ace, Whitebeard, Broccoli, the admirals. It is impossible that you don't feel for these characters. At least for one. I dare anybody to watch the show fully and say, nah, I couldn't empathize with anybody. And let's not talk about the Straw Hats themselves. Perfectly crafted bundles of joy and expression, all that have learned through horrible circumstances the value of laughter and following one's dreams. And yet, the most amazing thing about One Piece characters is their humor and expressiveness. No character in One Piece is sacred to Oda, in terms of being part of a joke. You can't be the most intimidating Yonko in existence, the strongest street general of Big Mom, or heck, a literal god. It doesn't matter. You're going to end up being goofy one way or another. Yeah, Oda doesn't discriminate, and honestly, I love him for that. Oda encapsulates a very specific type of energy, the energy of children. Dumb children doing dumb jokes mostly. Yeah, it has some smart humor here and there, as well as social commentary, but his genius is that his humor liberates you from the need to seem adult, the need to appear refined and special. You can't be a dumbass with the Straw Hats and any other character on the screen. it is expected of you not to think as an adult. In fact, I would say Oda makes you be less and less adult the more the show goes on. Being a child is the most important stage of our life, so how can we not be free when we revert to it? When we can just laugh at a fart joke easily again? That is part of the magic of One Piece. It lets you leave a part of your baggage behind, the worst one, your self-seriousness. Not only that, he frees you because you end up loving these doofuses. You root for them because you have laughed so hard with them. You have seen them being plain stupid. Oda has a theme for crafting special laughs to everybody in One Piece. If that doesn't tell you how important humor is in One Piece, I don't know how you will get the hint. And then it comes another part of Oda's success. His rawness. Look, Oda doesn't pull punches. The characters in One Piece can be coy, manipulative, and evil, but you know, sooner or later, how they feel, how they express themselves, how they become alive. And the rest of the cast? How expressive are they? Their expressions and movements, their annoyances and quirks, Oda makes you feel who they are, how they are doing, and why. It is sometimes done a bit on the nose? Yeah. I mean, Oda has some very interesting ways of keeping mysteries, but he is very obvious with his emotional beats. And that is also liberating. Look, it's fine to have displayed big inner character conflicts on the screen. It is fine to show nuance at some point. Oda does this too. Hell, he even does betrayals. But Oda sees this more like a gimmick, a plot point, to enhance the emotions of those who are being honest. All of One Piece is sincere and on the face. Is there mystery? Sure. We have the infamous silhouettes after all, but while there is mystery with everything that isn't on screen, the moment something appears, Oda gives you quite the clear emotional beats. He will show you why something is scary, why something is relatable, and why something is dumb. And even if there is some restraint in emotions from some characters, Oda builds his story to get always cathartic emotional beats. That is the magic of One Piece. And Luffy. Luffy is the heart of the series because, around him, everybody becomes freer. Their expressions start to exaggerate, their feelings to flourish, and their mental structures to collapse. We should all give a prayer for Trafalgar's Law's edginess. None of the characters shy away from emotion. In fact, their expressions and actions, while repressed sometimes, are always deep, always cutting to the core of who they are. And that is something that helps us also do the same. For even if we have been raised to feel that the world is a place of appearances, why does it have to be? Luffy, at least in my case, has helped me believe you can be loved just for being yourself and being true to who you are. Yeah, it might be clunky at the beginning, but that is also something One Piece helped me embrace. My own weirdness and deep feelings. For you never know how deep you can feel until a boat makes you cry your eyeballs out. Now, I said at the beginning that One Piece is the key to make your dreams come true, because you need 3 things to succeed. To have childlike wonder that makes you able to accept the weirdness of the trip with its highs and lows, to be able to embrace the deepest and strangest parts of yourselves and your feelings, using them to fuel that fire that is your determination, the sun you have in your heart. And to be ready to brave the world you have all around you, being unapologetic of what you want and your own journey. There are also other 3 things of making your dreams come true that One Piece teaches us, which are willpower, camaraderie, and another one. This last thing I want to talk about is about Luffy's dream. His dream is being the freest man in the world, the Pirate King. And like him, the last thing that you need to make your dreams come true is becoming the embodiment of your dream. For Luffy not only wants freedom for himself, but brings the same freedom he craves to everybody around him. He is freedom, and that makes the achievement of his dream so much easier. But all of this is something I will talk about in future videos, because One Piece has so many more things to talk about. This is just part 1 of my Why Do We Love One Piece series, so you guys can expect me to keep ranting about these and other shows. Ask me for any aspects of the show you want me to dissect, and I will do it without question. There is way more to talk about this after all, so if you want to be one of the freest people in the world with me, stay tuned. Also, I will keep doing more Why Do We Love series analyzing the core principles that I think made me fall in love with different stories, in the same manner as this one. You can ask in the comments for any show you love. If I love it too, I will totally talk about it. Thank you so much for watching the video and supporting the channel. And as always, thank you to Dying Like Icarus 13, the artist behind the art of my channel, and to Magma Braulio, the composer for the original song of the channel. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and for anything else, I see you in the comments. It has been a pleasure to have you here. See you soon, traveler.